Hi guys, welcome back. Today I am back with a very short and sweet video. I was very kindly tagged by Laura from the channel Laura Reads Pages, which I highly recommend, and I will link her channel down below so you can go and check her out. She tagged me to do the book reviewer tag, which was originally created by Gemma from the channel Read a Book Gem. I figured it's been a while since I've filmed a tag video, and I thought it was quite an interesting tag that has some questions looking at ways that books can be reviewed, and I have found it quite fascinating to look at some other people filming this tag, because I think it's really important to have this discussion among our community of readers, that we don't all review books the same way. We don't put weight on the same things when we are looking for books as either entertainment or for learning something new. So I thought that may be interesting, and that would hopefully spark a conversation as well in the comments down below. So definitely do let me know what you think of all these questions. And without further ado, I'll start into the first one. The first question is, where do you post your book reviews outside of BookTube? I post reviews sometimes, and usually they're just a few sentences, very short and sweet reviews on Goodreads, and that's the only other places that I talk about books, and it's really nowhere near as deep as when I talk about books on camera. I am not really so good at writing nice texts. I've never really been. And so that's why I like this video medium a lot more. So I'm not the kind of person who writes like pages and pages of reviews on a blog or on Goodreads. I would usually just put 2 or 3 sentences. That's pretty much where I post reviews outside of BookTube. Question number 2 is, what is your star rating system? Which is also a really crucial question and important thing to discuss, because we all have different kind of star review ratings. If I wasn't as involved on the Goodreads page, I would probably have another rating system, but I'm using Goodreads right now. I definitely want to check out the alternative that is coming out soon called the Story Graph, because I really need at least half-star ratings. But how I am doing it right now is 1 star means I didn't like it. 2 stars means it was just okay. Like, it might have some redeeming quality, like maybe at least the story was okay, or at least the writing was beautiful, but everything else was like not really to my taste. 3 stars means I enjoyed it, and I really mean I enjoyed it. Like, it was good. Like, it wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but it entertained me. It was great. Usually it's books that are great in a certain moment, and I really enjoy them when I get to them. But it's like nothing, it's not the kind of book that I would like push into anyone's hands. 4 stars is I really enjoyed it. And this is where the line between the different star ratings starts to become really blurry. And if you look at some of my reviews on Goodreads, I often give half stars, like anything between 3 and 5, because it's so difficult for me usually to pinpoint where I would put it. This usually means the book was enjoyable, but it also has this little something that made it like really interesting. It had something different that I really enjoyed or appreciated. And 5 stars is probably like an all-time favorite. I am very reticent with giving 5-star reviews. If I give 5 stars, it's like I really love it. Sometimes I give books 4.5 because I feel like they were really, really, really great, but they didn't have this little something that made them so special that I could call them favorites. But I realize that's kind of a nitpicky way of reviewing. But what I mean by that is that if I give a 5-star, it really means like it has like my badge of honor. Like, I love, love, love it. So, and I think it's quite important. I get really confused when I see people who give 5 stars all the time, because then you need to have that range of ratings. You can't just absolutely love everything from your whole heart. Question number 3 is, convince me to read a favorite book of yours in no more than 5 words. This is far more difficult than I thought it would be. And I'm going to go with Isolated Island, 9 People, 1 Killer, which is 6 words, I know. I cheated. If you want to pause there and write in the comments which book you think I am advertising, because I feel like I'm always advertising this book, you can do that now. But obviously it's And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. Question number 4 is, which book was the hardest to review and why? The book that comes to mind right now is How to Be Both by Ali Smith, just because this book is first really hard to describe, and that always feels difficult to review, and it is so strange. The plot is difficult to explain, the way it's written is difficult to explain, and what it's trying to do is very complicated to explain. So I guess the books that I think are hard to review are usually the ones that I have trouble describing well, because I feel like I'm not doing them justice, if that makes sense. Question number 5 is, are there books you won't review or give a star rating out of principle? I know some people do that with memoirs, and I do acknowledge that memoirs are like based on a person's story, but I still review books because they're books. I'm not reviewing, when I review a memoir, I review a written account of a story. It's a story, a real story that's put together in book form, and that's what I'm reviewing. So no, I review everything that I finish reading, basically. Question number 6 is, a book you really want to read has terrible reviews. Do you still read it? So it depends what kind of books it is. If it's contemporary fiction or a book that is like very recent and still is out long enough to have quite a number of reviews, I probably won't read it because I don't want to waste my time on something that might not be really good. If it's non-fiction, I might pick it up if it doesn't have great reviews, because I feel like non-fiction can get so specific, and if I'm interested in a very specific theme and there's not many books out that address this theme, I might still check it out even though maybe the reviews say it's like quite dry or whatever. If I'm interested enough in the theme, I would probably still pick it up. And another difficult one, I think, are classics, because I feel like, especially on Goodreads, a lot of people rate them that have to read them for school, and then they give it 1 star because it was a chore to do, which I understand. But I typically don't really trust ratings on classics, to be honest. I rather go into people who write really long reviews and go into the themes and the way it's written, because this gives me a better idea of if it's something for me or not. Question number 7 is, where do you view book reviews outside of BookTube, and what is your preferred format? I am not someone who reads a lot of blogs, to be honest. I just have a hard time keeping track of different kinds of blogs. I don't have that much time to dedicate to reading a lot about different reviews, so I usually stick to Goodreads and to YouTube. What I do, however, is when it was still possible to go into bookstores regularly, I definitely check booksellers' recommendations. Often you have bookstores that have like written recommendations next to a new release or something, that says in a few sentences why the bookseller thinks it's great. I look at that, and I guess the main thing when looking reviews is I prefer shorter snippets of books. Like, this is also something that I try at least to do in my videos, is that I don't dedicate more than like 3-4 minutes per book, because that's the way that I like to know about books I haven't read, because I don't want to know too much about it. I want to know enough to see it's something that might be for me, but I don't want to know too much. And that's also what I'm looking for when I'm looking for reviews. Question number 8 is, at what point do you view reviews of a book you are reading? Before, during, or after? And do you seek out reviews similar to your own or opposing? This is really interesting because this is very different depending on the book I'm reading and on the reading experience I'm having. I do check star reviews on Goodreads before starting a book, sometimes just because I'm curious, and what I do is I look at the star ratings that people that I follow, usually it's booktubers that then I follow on Goodreads or friends on Goodreads. I check out their star reviews just because I'm curious and I want to know where they kind of stood when they read it. Then if I am having problems with a book, so when I'm reading it, during the time I'm reading and I'm having trouble with any aspect of it, the story, the writing, the themes, maybe some problematic content, I do seek out reviews, and I do seek out reviews that address specifically the problem that I'm having, and I really seek out and read a lot of reviews and see if anyone else has picked up on it. And if I feel like this is a book I'm not enjoying and might even DNF or finish reading but I won't like it, I usually have no scruples going both into opposite reviews and reviews that show this similar opinion that I have. And I also really read spoilery reviews because sometimes it's at a point where I don't care anymore if I know what's going to happen in the end. I just want to see people's opinion. Question number 9 is, which book have you read with the lowest rating on Goodreads that you loved? That was kind of interesting because it's The Pearl by John Steinbeck, which is a novella, and I feel like it's a very well-known novella. But then that might circle back to my theory of classics are often badly rated because students have to read them and then they rate them bad. That might actually be one of the candidates where this might be happening, because this is a 5-star read for me. It was so good. And finally, question number 10 is, which book have you read with the highest rating on Goodreads that you hated? None of the books that I'm going to talk about now I hated, but they were just okay. And that is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, which is rated 4.22 on Goodreads. And I think I gave it 2 stars. I don't know, I just didn't really vibe with this book. And I didn't vibe with the humor. I know a lot of people love it. It's just not for me. The other one is the 4th volume of Saga, which is rated 4.45, and I gave it 2 stars also. And that's actually where I stopped reading the comic series Saga, because I was getting annoyed at the plot and the characters and the gratuitous violence and sexual stuff that was so out of place from the whole plot. But I feel like there I'm also in the minority, so make what you will of this. So that's it for the book reviewer tag. Again, thank you very much to Laura for tagging me. It's a really fun tag. If you want to do it and you're watching this, do film this tag and consider yourself tagged, and let me know if you film it because I want to check it out. If you don't have a YouTube channel, feel free to answer some of these questions in the comments down below. I would really love to know how you guys deal with your ratings in terms of star ratings, but also when do you look at ratings? Maybe you also rate books on some blogs that I should check out. Let me know everything in the comments down below. And in the meantime, I hope you're reading great books, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!